Former President Biden announced that he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer that's spread into his bones. This is something that, again, is very sad. We shouldn't ever be talking about that in a way that's offensive to the person who's suffering. We should be praying for him and praying for his family. However, it does happen to coincide with the release of a lot of information on President Biden's ability to govern during his time in the White House and what happened those last years, whether that was from the George Clooney reports or whether that was coming from Jake Tapper's new book that's supposed to be released in a day and a half. And of course, you have even more with the leaked audio that came out. Just a lot that kind of shows that the cover-up was aggressive.
There was an oncologist that was on Morning Joe, so not on conservative media, that was talking about that he likely knew about this or definitely had it even at the beginning of his presidency when he took office in 2021, based off of, as the oncologist was saying, the way that it grows, how long it takes, even the aggressive form of cancer here, for it to get to his bones would take a long time, not just a past 100, 200 days situation. But yet they released this announcement 2 days before this devastating book, which is titled Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again, that's coming out from Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. That we've obviously
CNN's Jake Tapper,
right? One who participated in that cover-up for years, saying that taking the White House talking points, everything is fine. These are cheap fakes. Leave him alone. He's doing great. He's stronger than ever. And the fact that they would take the time now to announce this diagnosis 2 days before the book is released is just more evidence of those people around him not protecting someone.
Of politics.
It takes the humanity out of someone and makes them only a political puppet, which has been the criticism from the right for a long time, of that Joe Biden probably shouldn't be in this position.
I think there's a lot of people who have horrible people that surround them. People who are abusive, people that, and not just elder abuse, I'm talking about in general, in life, in the world, in politics, in business, in faith. You have a lot of opportunistic people who see power, who see strength, who see money, and will take advantage of a situation at hand, however they can. And I think that happens with a lot of people. And it happens a lot of times when people are suffering or dealing with something, and they're intellectually smart people who have some real issues going on. And then surrounding them are people who are going to take advantage of those issues. That is my concern with President Biden. And that's why I say pray for him and pray for his family. And hopefully pray the people around him are good people. As you said, a few days before this book drops, when it was probably the number one story this weekend was those tapes, and that all of this was happening, and Jake Tapper's about to do this big expose, and then all of a sudden you even saw the talking points. I think a few people specifically said, hey, we need to make sure we calm down the rhetoric. He's sick, he's suffering. Let's not just ram it home and make it even worse for him. I get that, but that's precisely why it feels like a political move.
You are not going to be able to convince me that the medical team around him, which is supposed to be the best, somehow did not know that he had prostate cancer. This didn't just pop up in a late stage. And the reality is that we need answers. Why was everything so secretive? Why was it so hidden? And how did they control it? I mean, everything leaks from the federal government surrounding Republicans when they're in the White House. I don't understand how they control the system so much. And that's the scary part, Will. That is the scary part to me, is if they can control the system that the President of the United States has cancer and we're not going to release it because it's not the right timing, what else are they hiding? If they are that powerful and in cahoots with the media to the point where the media protect them, and they can keep things completely away from public attention that should be part of the public's debate, I want to know what else is being hidden from us.
The tapes, the actual audio tapes of that interview that Special Counsel Robert Hur conducted with President Biden over his removal of classified documents and not storing them properly. Remember, this is what President Trump had been charged with by the special counsel Jack Smith. and there was a special counsel appointed to see if there was going to be prosecution against the president regarding this. And it was the firestorm that came out of this when Robert Hur wrote a report saying, I'm declining charging him, because one of the decisions as a prosecutor you have to make is, can you get a conviction? And he even put aside all of the issues of trying to charge a sitting president and said, it is my feeling that a jury would see him as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. And the left went crazy, and they attacked him. Joe Biden attacked him and said, why would he bring up my dying son? Why would he do all these things? And in reality, when you heard those tapes, we got the transcript a while ago, and you read it, and it was shocking. And then I listened to the tapes, and I actually didn't want to play them today because it was so much more devastating to hear it when you heard the audio. And you don't want to just continue to pound on this. We know what happened. We understand. The debate finally put it into all of the speculation.
The Joe Biden team has been really running from transparency. They don't want us to know about his medical records. They don't want us to know what people actually were thinking when they were in the Oval Office with President Trump. They've spun this huge tale, and we all know that it is just not true. First of all, I'm a cancer survivor, and I can tell you that prostate cancer in particular is something that you watch and can see it slowly progress. Joe Biden, as president of the United States, was supposed to be one of the people that was monitored, his health was monitored more than any other person. So we just have fundamental questions to ask of the last doctor that was at the White House. Did he do a PSA test? Does he know what the results were? Did he ask the President Biden about side effects? How long has Biden known? I don't believe that he just found out. I believe that if you understand the facts surrounding cancer and specifically prostate cancer, you know about this well in advance.
When you have people surrounding you that don't have your best interests or the best interest of the country or think they have the best interest of the country by propping this, up and creating this charade.
Yeah.
Until it was too late. That was the crazy part. And you had Joe Biden last week or 2 weeks ago on The View saying, I don't think it would have mattered,
right.
if he had gotten out earlier. Essentially, Donald Trump was going to win. I think they knew that, but the last ditch effort was saying, okay, we got to pull him and see because he beat him so badly in that debate. And now when you go, okay, was this guy suffering from an aggressive form of cancer 8 months ago during that debate? 9 months ago? It sounds like it. Even if it wasn't caught, even if they didn't say it. And then does your heart change of how you feel about the guy? Yeah, probably. But really what it should do is say the people around him were bad people. People around him were abusing the situation.